Hello, my name is Amanda Iveson. I'm the Endless Mountain Maple Association Maple Ambassador. I'm here today to show you my research that I've done on maple and the wonderful products and creation of it. First, I would like to talk about the lore and how maple came to be. In the Native American cultures, there is a god called Manabozho. Manabozho watches over certain villages and protects them to make sure they're eating, hunting, and doing everything that they should be doing. So one day, Manabozho came down to the village to check on his people. When he came to the village, he found that they were nowhere to be seen. There was no hunting, there was no villagers making any weapons, tools, crafts, or anything. So he went on a walk to figure out where his people had gone. When he went into the woods, he found that they were laying underneath maple trees and letting the sap run into their mouths. Manabozho wasn't very pleased by this. When he found this, he took 2 big buckets and went down to the river. With these big buckets, he collected water and brought them back. He dumped them in each individual maple tree to make the sap more runny and more water-like. This, in turn, made the natives have to put effort into being able to collect this sap. And so came tapping and then the creation of maple syrup. Unfortunately, at their time, there was no way they could preserve the syrup, so they would burn it down into the little crumbs, or maple sugar as we would know it as now. And they would use it in other sources of food to give it a sweet and lovely taste. As time progressed, the natives would eventually meet foreign travelers into their countries, and they would show them their ways of collecting this syrup. They would show them how to create and melt the syrup into their sugar. As time progressed with them, they were able to figure out how to refrigerate and keep the sap as just normal syrup, rather than having to break it down all the way into the sugar. I'm going to explain later on how tapping and evaporation works. Next is grades. Grades over time have changed, as so I've found. Some have combined it into one, and others have been moved and turned into a different grade. First, we have grade A with golden and delicate taste. This is a lighter colored grade, which is more commonly used in such things like desserts, on like ice cream and maybe brownies, and also with breakfast food like pancakes or waffles or French toast. This is not necessarily a very strong maple taste, but a light, sweet taste that gives you just a hint of maple. Next is grade A amber. Grade A with an amber color and rich taste. This combines grade A medium amber and grade A dark. In this is normally used as another topping, but tends to be used as flavoring for other things such as tea and coffee. Again, just to give it the taste, a little bit of the taste, but stronger, so it stays in mixtures such as liquid or hot liquid when added in. Grade A dark with a robust taste combines grade A dark amber and grade B. These are 2 formerly different grades, but now they have been combined together. These grades are normally used in makings of baked goods or glazes. This is darker and has more of a richer, is darker and has a heavier maple flavor, and has sometimes a light caramel flavor to it sometimes as well, as has been described. They tend to use these to be able to keep the maple flavor when it's being used in baking goods and that, so the flavor does not back down. Grade A, very dark with a strong taste, is now which was formerly grade C and commercial. This is now basically used when they want a really rich taste. This is super dark and very, very heavy maple flavor. It's normally used when they're making balsamics or rubbings and different things added to other foods to give it a richer, almost smokier taste. Next is the process of maple. The processing and tapping of maple. So as we moved from the native times, we started using things as like metal buckets around on every single tree rather than using wooden buckets. And we used metal spigots that would go into the trees as well. Each tree would have their own individual bucket and the farmer or sugar house farmer would have to go out and collect each and every single one of them as they were going on for the sap season. This would then they would bring back and put into their sugar house. Now, as time is going along, we no longer use these metal buckets, unless you're going with the traditional sense. We now are using a grid method or vacuum tubing method. We now have moved into plastic tubes hooked onto each of the trees. All the trees go during the year and collect into a separate tank. This tank collects all the sap from each of the trees and it is brought into the sugar house. Once brought into the sugar house, the sap is going to be put into the evaporator to boil. Seeing the sap is 2% sugar and maple syrup is normally 66.5% sugar, it takes about 20 gallons of sap to finally be able to make a gallon of maple syrup. Depending on who you are, you can use either wood or you could use gas to be able to evaporate your syrup. During this time, you have to watch it very closely because it could potentially burn and become the crust and become the maple sugar, which is okay in some sense if that is what people are looking for. Plus, you also have to look out for the foam that creates on top when you're using the evaporation. The boiling sap is done when it's about 7 degrees above boiling temperature. The thickness and density of the syrup can be measured by a thermometer and to ensure that syrup is boiled long enough. Once it is removed from the evaporator, it is then boiled, or it is then filtered and bottled into bottles, either such as the glass container, which many love to have for decoration, or what we all know as the PA maple container that proudly states where it's from. Both of these are sold in different variations. Along with this, if it's cooked a little bit longer than normal, you can make either maple cream, maple sugar, or many other versions of maple into maple candies. Finally, I want to thank you all for watching my presentation today. I wish you all the best of luck in your upcoming maple season and everything you do. Have a lovely day.